Full Melt Show is intended for a mature audience. It contains adult themes, adult content, and sometimes adult language. Listener discretion is advised.
The Full Melt.
I love marijuana. I smoke a lot of weed. I do. I sweat hash oil. I could never play basketball with hippies. Someone always ends up with a butter knife. Quit scraping me! Dude, you're all resiny. No? Do you guys, is it too late? You guys, have some coffee. It's Seattle. Weed and coffee. That's the poor man's 8 ball, right? All right. It's like that. I forgot most of my... They say marijuana makes you forgetful. I mostly forget where I put my marijuana. That's, I'm serious. I found hash in my passport one time. That's not a good idea, right? You don't want to hide the hash in your passport. That's the first place they look. Can we see your passport? No. I'll race you to the embassy. How about that? You guys know weed used to be legal, right? Till 1937, the founding fathers, Jefferson, Washington, all those guys used to grow it. They used to smoke it. The Declaration of Independence was originally written on hemp paper. Hemp, which is marijuana, which is pot. It makes better paper than trees, better fabric than cotton, and you can smoke it and talk about shit. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Write that down. We'll forget, don't forget. That's why John Hancock's signature is so big. Because he was high as hell, right? Hell yeah, I'll sign that shit. Hell yeah. Look, 1 foot. Cock. Right? It's better when our presidents smoke weed. Hell yeah. Right? When Bill Clinton was president, it was bong hits and blowjobs for everybody. But look. I feel so bad for Obama. You know, I mean, I'm proud that he's the president, but I feel bad for him because the country's in such horrible shape. It's like he won a bucket of shit. It's like, hey, you won. Congratulations. Here's your bucket full of shit. Good job. No, you're the winner. That's why you worked for 12 years and put yourself through school and shit. Here's your bucket. I just think that's funny to me. No? Do you vote, stoners? Yeah. That's how you change the law. Yeah. Hey, make sure to show up on voting day, too. Don't show up on Wednesday. All high as hell. Dude, I missed the bus. At the church. You still have donuts? All right, that's funny to me, too. Do you guys find anything humorous? Michael Phelps, perhaps?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I would never smoke weed with Michael Phelps. His lungs are fucking huge. Dude, that was my whole bag. Right? Kellogg's got the picture of Michael Phelps smoking weed. They cut his sponsorship. The stoners have boycotted Kellogg's, and now Kellogg's sales are down. That's right. Because when stoners boycott your breakfast cereal, you're fucked. That's how it is. Right? It's not just for breakfast. Right? I got a box in the car. It's General Mills, though. I'm sure it's in the game. Kellogg should have called me. I would have told him what to do. If you run a cereal company, you got a picture of Michael Phelps smoking weed. You take that picture, you put it on 20,000 Frosted Flakes boxes. You tell everybody that one of the boxes has a half ounce of weed in it. And the boxes are $100 each. Right? You just made $2 million. You're only paying him $500,000, so you made $1.5 million profit. Work stone, not hard. That's my advice.
Are you high? What are you talking about?
This is the Full Melt.
The Full Melt Show. A marijuana discussion about news, culture, politics, and lifestyle. FullMelt.com. Toll free. 844-420-TALK. 844-420-TALK.
Hey, Mike. You know what day it is? Hump day. That's what it is. It's 420 Funny Wednesday. I think, at least for the at least for the foreseeable future, a couple of weeks into the next coming dates, we will probably have 420 Comic on the show. Comedy's really funny. Well, I didn't mean it like that. Comedy's a funny thing. Okay, I didn't mean it like that either. Okay, comedy's a strange and unusual beast. That's what I meant. Of course, comedy's funny, but one of the hardest things to do, being a performer, and I can tell you because I'm a performer, is to stand up on a stage in front of a live crowd to be ridiculed for your humor. That is a rough gig, let me tell you. If you're not prepared, if you come with armor-thick skin to stand up on a stage in front of live people who are usually drunk and disorderly and ready to boo you, because boos will fly out of their mouths with the least of resistance. If you don't, if you're not meeting their expectations and making them laugh. Here's the other thing about comedy. It's extremely relative. So I tell this story, I don't know, this is going back a few days, but do you remember the old Visa commercial? There was a Visa commercial back when Visa was saying, Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And Jerry Seinfeld is in the Visa commercial, and he's at the very beginning of the commercial, he's standing up on stage, and he's telling a joke, and he says, he's leading up to the joke as the announcer is speaking, and he's obviously talking about baseball in his comedy, and all of a sudden the announcer stops, and Jerry Seinfeld on stage says, "What is this? The seventh inning stretch?" And the crowd roars, and then he goes on telling his jokes, and then they cut to a foreign stage, being over in Great Britain, and he's all dressed up in British clothes, and he's up onto the stage, and he goes, "What is this? The seventh inning stretch?" And there's a cricket in the background, because really it's a double joke, and it makes the point because it says, the announcer says something about because wherever you are, some things might not always work, or words to that effect, and that's when he's like, "What is this? The seventh inning stretch?" And then he goes on about saying Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. It's universal. In other words, everybody can relate to the Visa. But if you're in, Great Britain and you got a comic up on stage telling jokes about baseball, it's really not very relevant. The people there don't play baseball. They don't really watch baseball. I'm sure they understand baseball to some degree, but yawn. And that's why the cricket was playing in the background. Single cricket. Which is a joke about the baseball and the cricket. So anyways, comedy's very relative. And if you can't relate, if your audience can't relate to your material, boy, you've got a problem on your hands. You might as well just climb off the stage now while you still have some dignity. Because, again, the cricket in the background playing, that's an awfully scary feeling when you got people staring down their nose at you. Because the joke that you just told might be the funniest joke ever written, which I think there's a Monty Python sketch about the funniest joke in the world or something. They weaponized the funniest joke in the world in this Monty Python sketch. All the soldiers would come out. They would put ear headphones on, earmuffs on, and then they would play the joke, which nobody can hear because it is deadly. The joke is just, it's a killer. They play the joke, and the guy starts laughing, or the enemies start laughing, and they fall over dead. And then everybody takes their headphones off, or their earmuffs off, and on they go. So what I guess I'm getting to about marijuana and comedy is that, boy, those are two very niche groups mixed together. And I can tell you from experience, because, look, I say marijuana and comedy go together naturally. This is like the apple falling from the tree and gravity. They just kind of go together. You don't have to do much explanation because, first off, anybody who's ever, done the marijuana, anybody who's ever puffed on the keef is likely to tell you that it's going to make you giggle. And in fact, I'll tell you this little short story. I had a high school friend, Kevin Harrington. I'm going to call you out, Kevin. I just talked to Kevin on the phone for the first time in, I don't know, a long time. Yesterday on the phone. And so, I'm bringing up Kevin for. See how, Kevin was the first guy that I smoked marijuana with. And I was probably, I was a high schooler. It was probably in between my junior and senior years, or maybe just after my senior year. I don't know. It was in that neighborhood. No, it was definitely between the junior and the senior years. I remember now. And the parents had gone off on some vacation, and I had the house to myself. And my friend Kevin came over, whose father grew some marijuana behind the what is that? The big up above ground pool. Those above ground pools, especially if they have like, a big walkway around them. There's some fencing and stuff. It's really high in the air. You get, probably about 8, 10, 12, 14 feet in the air you could go before anything would poke up on the backside of the pool. So his dad grew some marijuana on the backside of the pool so the coppers couldn't see it from the road. He lived out in the country. Dirt road. And so Kevin comes over while I'm on this vacation, or while my parents are on their vacation. My mother at the time was on vacation with the rest of the family. They were all gone. And he comes over with this big bag of what essentially was one of those plants, stripped, leaves and all, just mostly leaves. I don't know. I never knew what bud was back then. But it was mostly leaves. And so the first thing that happens when we're going to roll up a joint and smoke it. And so we didn't really know what to anticipate other than we were about to try and get high, which is what we proceeded to do. And it was just crappy weed. I mean, it was just leaf weed. If there was some buds in there, I'd be really surprised. Mostly just the crappy leaf. Of course, it tasted horrible, and because leaves taste horrible. And, the first thing that happened, I remember looking across the table from him as I passed it to him, and he smoked it too. And we're both holding in that, that big puff of smoke. And the very first thing that happens is I start giggling. And it wasn't just the effect of the weed that was making me giggle, or was it? And that was what was rolling around in my head, because what I was giggling about was now I knew why everybody smoked weed and then giggled, which I couldn't relate to before. I just had no concept. But I was laughing that I knew about what people were laughing about. And the more that I laughed, the more that Kevin laughed, and the more that Kevin laughed, the more that I laughed, and we were just the epitome of, first-timers smoking some weed. But, marijuana being a relative subject, because if you talk about marijuana to most people, it's just drugs. But if you talk about marijuana to a stoner or to a medical marijuana person or to somebody who used to have, quote-unquote, the lifestyle, because I really don't think it's a lifestyle, but it's part of people's lives. And, I guess in the long run, if you don't understand the details about marijuana, if you don't understand the intricacy about marijuana, like if you just understood it, like if you're just one of these people from the, baby boomer era, and you never smoked weed, you just always heard the demonized messages, you really wouldn't necessarily understand that marijuana will probably make you giggle, especially the first time that you smoked it. It's all relative. So the comedy of Ngaio Bealum coming up next, as he's our featured guest on the Full Melt Show. Stand by.
You're getting the Full Melt.
It's not easy out there, but it can be easier. And when it comes to medical marijuana in Michigan and chronic pain management, Dr. Bob Townsend, renowned for his patient advocacy and deep understanding of how patients and medical marijuana certifications fit together, makes it his hallmark to educate and provide the best holistic treatment for your condition. His knowledgeable staff makes you feel warm and welcome, and Dr. Bob makes you feel well. With locations across the state in Cadillac and Gaylord, Kalamazoo, Marquette, Mount Pleasant, Muskegon, Saginaw, Traverse City, you can't beat the convenience and feeling you get knowing you have someone on your side that cares. Denali Healthcare is on the web at denalihealthcaremi.com. Get answers to your holistic health questions or schedule an appointment now by calling 989-339-4464. Chronic pain management and holistic health answers is what they do. It's all they do. DenaliHealthcareMI.com. Get your certification and peace of mind now by making an appointment with Dr. Bob Townsend at 989-339-4464.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at canalock.com. Visit canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
They're parasites. They've got no contribution to this society. They're preying on our community and our kids. And it's going to end badly.
We've got exactly $100,000 in cash in the back of this car. I bet there's guys right there in that prison for doing just what we're about to do.
I want the Breckenridge Cannabis Club to be a household name.
This is us pioneering a new industry.
He's going after every resort town in Colorado. His plan is brilliant.
Watch out for
this is a big boy operation now.
We are not the Amsterdam of the Rockies. We're Breckenridge.
Absolutely unbelievable to us that this has happened so quickly.
That's when the town erupted.
All hell can break loose.
I think we have an image to protect.
The powerful elite has definitely put the pressure on.
Everyone is playing everyone.
They're going to have a target painted on their back.
That is a real threat.
There's $2 billion to be had next year. I plan to take more than my fair share.
High Profits, Sunday night at 10 Eastern on CNN.
Does your dog or cat suffer with joint disorders, arthritis, anxiety, cancer, chronic pain, or other ailments? Hemp or cannabis-based medicinal products are now legal. Why should your pets go without the same options that we have available? Try Sativus, a daily hemp oil with CBD. Sativus is quality inspected and made in the USA. Easy-to-use drops are applied directly to your pet's food. For your pet's wellness, try Sativus drops. Ask for Sativus at your local pet store or learn more at petpain.com.
With this warmer weather, I get more active. Headaches and pains keep me from doing things I enjoy, like golfing and working outside my yard. Toledo Hemp Center's new location, 1415 Sylvania Avenue, has shown me there is an alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. I use CBD, cannabidiol, infused hemp lotions, oral sprays, and topical oils. Thank you, Toledo Hemp Center, for helping me restore and maintain my health with no side effects and no high. Find out more at ToledoHempCenter.com.
Hey, it's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience, bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
In an emergency, I'll just dial 918. But the wonderful thing is you kids get along. And we were able to have a third beautiful child.
Wait, but how did you have an extra room for Maggie?
Well, that's where I used to grow my weed.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show. You see, even the Simpsons are getting in on it. The Full Melt Show is on Monday through Friday from 7 until 8 p.m. at thefullmelt.com. We are broadcasting on Spreaker. You can also find us on iTunes and various and sundry other places. It's really easy, though, with iTunes. Go there, subscribe, boom, it's right there in your device if you just want to hear us later as a podcast. So we're talking about, it's 420 Funny Wednesday with our phones online with us is live from L.A. and Ngaio Bealum. Welcome to the program. Thanks for coming on.
Kill him. Woo!
Did you say chill him or kill him? I couldn't tell.
Yeah, Bealum. Ngaio Bealum.
Bealum. I say Bealum. I get Bealum. Okay, it's a B with an E.
Yes, Bealum. I know it's weird.
You know, I had a hard enough time with the whole thing in the first place.
You can't all be named Steve Green.
It's a humdrum name.
It would be a boring world.
It's a what world?
A boring if we all had the same name.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
And confusing, too. You'd be like, I'm dating this girl named Steve. Oh, yeah. I know her. Steve Green, yeah. Me, too. Weird.
Listen, did you used to get picked on for your name?
Did you get picked on?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
I had green.
My name was Aloysius or whatever. Anything unusual, kids will pick on you.
Well, I've got a common name. I got the Steve Green. My friend Kim in school nicknamed me Green Bean the Booger Machine, and that was all I got.
Green Bean the Booger Machine.
That's what she called me.
That's pretty good. It's kind of long. Shouldn't nicknames be shorter?
I would think so, but we were kids in school.
Yeah. Well, that's really more like a pet name.
Well, she was
were you in fact a booger machine?
Was I what?
I said, were you in fact a booger machine?
Oh, no, I wasn't. I don't think I ever had a booger on my face. She just thought it was funny.
Yeah, well, yes, it is, actually, especially in elementary school.
She, to this day, calls me Beaner.
You don't look Mexican.
I am not.
You were setting up that joke.
I have no Latino heritage.
None at all. And yet you're still Beaner Green.
It is weird. She'll text me every once in a while on the Facebook, "Hey, Beaner," and I'll be like, "Oh God, that takes me back."
Sure. Everybody's got old nicknames. I used to be known as the Martian, or the Professor, or the Chocolate Mountain of Joy. It depends on where you know me from.
Were you a bit of a nerd in school?
More than a bit. I was a nerd. Was not even a question. The founder of the Dungeons and Dragons Society.
So did you go to college in Ngaio?
Yes, I majored in philosophy and ceramics. I'm kidding. These are my thoughts. That's my bong. It's an A.
Bong making 104. Really? What was 101, 2, and 3?
I took bong making 420, advanced applied bong theory.
Advanced applied bong theory. Applied.
Not theoretical or not practical theory, but applied theory. We're going to test out some new design.
I wonder what the credentials for the professor and that gig is.
Yeah, I just applied to teach magical plants and potworts. So, yeah. 10 joints to Gryffindor.
It's just a Gryffindor. Listen, did you?
Gryffindor.
What? Obviously you have a marijuana background. You like the marijuana yourself, yes?
Yes, I have a big green screen that follows me everywhere with just big pot leaves on it.
A big green screen with pot leaves.
My marijuana background.
Yeah, I get it. You have to be a idiot in order to understand that joke. Do most people get the green screen thing? I think they do.
With today's special effects, everybody knows green screen and CGI.
Yeah. So I guess what made you decide to tie marijuana to comedy? Because look, I've been trying to do this for since the show began, like 5 years ago, trying to find somebody who's funny with marijuana, and boy, that's a tough gig.
Really? Well, it's kind of funny. When I first started out a million years ago, I got in a lot of trouble a lot of times for my pot advocacy and pot jokes. Like, you going to talk about pot all the time? And I was like, hey, Eskimos talk about snow. Other guys talk about growing old or their kids or whatever. You talk about what you know, that you can have some distance from and keep a sense of humor about. I can't talk politics because that shit makes you crazy mad, and I'm not funny. I'm just angry, and who wants to be a ranter all the time? Leave that shit to Dennis Miller. So, but now, with pot becoming more and more popular, everybody's got a pot joke or 2 or 3 or 4, so it's kind of funny. But I don't think there are really any, Canna-centric comedians. Maybe me, maybe Jeff Peterson, maybe Todd Armstrong out of Portland, but he's not even really a pot comic so much as a comic who knows a lot about pot.
Well, those two things go together. In my opinion.
Comedy? Oh, yeah, man, from way back. Ask George Carlin, ask Richard Pryor, ask Cheech and Chong, don't ask Bill Cosby because he didn't smoke. But you can ask about him.
You might need some special conditions if you ask Bill Cosby.
Well, he'll just invite you over for a drink.
Or he might hide it in your Jell-O pudding.
Nice. You had to do that one, huh?
I didn't have a...
And then you joke about putting his junk where it doesn't belong, but come on, really?
Well, I'm not a great... I guess I could write a routine. I'm a good writer, so I could write a routine. I've always wanted to do stand-up, I guess. I've never been to an open mic night, but I imagine I could do fairly well with writing a routine. I'd have to write it. I'd have to work on it for a long time, and then go up and check it out. But... this is one of those things where, you guys have these jokes that you've used over and over again and polished. I mean, you told it a different way each time until you found the most effective way. I'd have to work. I'd end up becoming a stand-up, because that's a lot of work.
Listen, you can just give me the jokes.
Give you the jokes. I even offered somebody who I've seen do some marijuana-related comedy. The guy's name is Mike Wiseman. He listens to the show. And I had him on the program once in an attempt to do 420 comedy. I think the show bombed because it just.
Was it your joke? You think your jokes were the problem, or do you think it was just one of those things?
I wasn't telling jokes. I actually offered to pay him $20. I pulled a Howard Stern. I said, "Look, I'll give you $20 if you'll be my was it Jackie? What is it, Jackie the Joke Man? Be my Jackie the Pot Joke Man, and write me marijuana jokes, and everyone that I use on the radio, I'll pay you for." And it's always been kicked around. And nobody ever took me up on that.
Man, I don't know what to tell you. I'm kind of selfish with my jokes. I don't want to sell them anyway. It's hard to, 5 or 6 years ago, I was like, maybe I should write fewer jokes about pot and write some other jokes. And then all this legalization started happening, and I started playing all these spots over and over. I do the hemp fast, I do Harvest Fest. I did the Emerald Cup Fest. And you can't use the same jokes every year. So I've actually had to write more pot jokes than I ever thought I would, which has been kind of interesting.
Well, it's you got to sit and grind on it because it is a really specialized niche field. I mean,
yes, you do have to grind your pot.
You have to grind
before you write a joke. So that's important. I'm sorry, I'm parallel parking. I apologize for the noise.
You are multitasking.
I am.
You are multi-talented. So, what made you decide to tie marijuana to comedy? Well, what made you decide to go into that? Was it just something that you were, familiar with, and it was relative to you, so it was easy to write jokes about, or?
Well, yeah, I had already been a comic for a while, and so just when you write jokes like that, like I said, you write about what you know. So it wasn't even really a question. I just thought those were the funniest things, and nobody else was really talking about it. Everybody else was talking about all kind of other things, and I figured it would be a good spot and a good niche to have. It's worked out pretty well. I've traveled around. I've made a decent living, and I've smoked a lot of really good weed. So.
There's a benefit to being a pot comic, isn't there?
Yes, yeah. Sometimes the cats who come to your show don't have a lot of money, but they generally have a lot of weed, and so.
Well, you know where all their money went.
Yeah, it's the yin and the yang. And snacks. They have good snacks, which is also important.
Listen up. There you go. So listen, it was one time Dave Chappelle. Now, Dave Chappelle, if he was still doing stand-up, he'd be doing weed comedy, wouldn't he?
He still does stand up, and he has a few jokes about weed. He's one of those guys. A lot of guys have jokes about weed, but it just really is like a side note. It's as a part of the deal, right? It's part of the story. So in this story, I was stoned, so you have to keep that in mind in my reaction or whatever, or just a little thing here or there. Cat Williams has some nice things about pot.
More people
doing it.
We had Dave.
You can go to marijuanapolitics.com and search my name, and I wrote a nice little listicle with quite a few comics in there, bits about weed. I got Louis C.K. on there. I got Dave Chappelle. I got Brian Posehn, a couple other cats.
Yeah, I guess what I was getting to in the long run was, Jeff Foxworthy, and who else was it? Ron White, and who was the other? Larry the Cable Guy. They put together, because they were all doing similar, comedy. They put together the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. They put together that Blue Collar Comedy Tour and made a killing. Don't you think we should maybe round up some pot comics and do the 420 Funny Tour? I think that would be hilarious.
To produce that show, I am ready to be on it. Now, remember, those guys were already a little bit famous before they made the movie, and so that helped them blow up in the same way that the Three Kings of Comedy done. I don't know. I mean, yes, let's do it, yes.
I think that would be great because it would. It's a natural. Like if there was ever a time that cities would go, the 420 Comedy Tour, it would be now, wouldn't it?
I'm down to tour at least Michigan and Colorado and California and Oregon and Alaska.
Alaska. What about Hawaii? You got to sneak Hawaii in there, maybe.
Hey, you set up the tour, man. I'll go wherever you say, brother. I'll tell all the jokes.
Well, the trick is getting the other comics on board, isn't it?
The trick is getting people to show up and pay. Comics will do it.
You don't think that they would? You don't think they would show up and pay to come to a 420 Funny Tour? I think every single medical patient in the state here would probably show up at one of those events.
Not every single medical patient in the state has $30, but yes, every single medical patient in the state would show up
with their weed, saying, "Hey, can you let us in the back door? Because I got some weed for you."
How many pot smokers does it take to change a light bulb? 100. One to change the bulb and 99 to get in on the guest list.
That's exactly right. Look, I did have Dave Chappelle in the studio for another program one day. This was before he got all goofy with the show that he was doing for Comedy Central. Sure. But he was all about the G13. We talked about it on the air, and then I think somebody brought some G13 up and one of the listeners, and they're back in the studio smoking it.
That's how it goes, man. This is one of the beauties of the brotherhood or the fellowship of the marijuana leaf. If you mention something and somebody has it, they'll show up with it, man. It's beautiful. G13, really nice. It's an indica. It's rumored to be the government strain, right? That's supposed to be the strain that the government grows in their farm in Mississippi.
Right. There was a government-developed strain, the G13. That's what the G stands for, isn't it? It was the 13th version of whatever they were growing from the government.
Sure. R2D2. And if you take the G13 and cross it with a hash plant, that's how you get Mr. Nice, just so you know.
That's funny that, that's actually a good thing you could write a joke about is marijuana strain names, wouldn't it be? I mean,
a friend of mine crossed a white widow with a train wreck, and he calls it Courtney Love.
Courtney is a train wreck, for sure.
And a white widow, clearly.
Exactly. Look, I was just watching the Kurt Cobain thing on HBO. There's like a 2-hour documentary. Very strange.
Yeah, how was it?
It's a really, you've got to, first off, you've really got to like Kurt Cobain in order to sit through 2 hours of documentary footage on him.
Sure.
But it tells an interesting story. It really, if you're a Kurt Cobain fan or if you're a Nirvana fan and you watch that documentary, you're going to walk away with a strange feeling about it because it really reveals a lot of stuff that maybe was implied that was never, it really personifies the whole story.
I'll have to check it out.
It was pretty cool.
Right on.
Where are you playing at right now? What stand up are you doing? Where are you doing?
I'll be in Brookings, Oregon next Wednesday at some place I can't remember. I'm actually touring around right now promoting my new line of cannabis flowers. The first offering, we have a bunch of different small batch, private reserve, hand-grown and processed cannabis flowers for your medical enjoyment.
Hey, you got your own brand of that, don't you?
What?
Don't you have your own brand of those? It seemed like you did.
Yes, it just came out last week. Blueberry cookies is the first offering that we have. We're only releasing 500 of those, and we're going to put out a few more in a month or so. So
if people want to find you on the Facebook and Twitter, you're there, right?
Just type in MGAIO, and my smiling dreadlock face should show up.
And Ngaio say your last Bealum. See, it's the B-E. You got to remember the B. And Ngaio Bealum. I got it. I thought I had it before, but I didn't. Thanks for coming on the program.
Oh, my pleasure, brother.
Full Melt.
It started with Weed 1.
Some have called it a watershed moment.
Then came Weed 2.
It's absurd that we would have to do this to get medicine.
Now Dr. Sanjay Gupta is at it again, and he's reaching higher than ever with Weed 3.
I never thought I would be smoking weed in the hospital.
The movement behind it.
We demand this plant go through the process of the FDA.
The radical research.
I have to say I'm kind of stunned.
Weed 3, the marijuana revolution.
Each week, Pot Pitch takes a look at different medical or legal pot business as they attempt to seek investment capital and partners in order to take their business to the next level. What do investors like?
And which entrepreneurs are shown the door?
Real venture capitalists, smart entrepreneurs, and exciting business models in a brand new industry. Cannabis. Pot Pitch. Find out what this new marijuana industry will look like and who its players will be. Real deals, real people, real decisions. Pot Pitch at potpitch.com and featured on the Full Melt Radio Show.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at canalock.com. Visit canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Does your dog or cat suffer with joint disorders, arthritis, anxiety, cancer, chronic pain, or other ailments? Hemp or cannabis-based medicinal products are now legal. Why should your pets go without the same options that we have available? Try Sativus, a daily hemp oil with CBD. Sativus is quality inspected and made in the USA. Easy-to-use drops are applied directly to your pet's food. For your pet's wellness, try Sativus Drops. Ask for Suttibus at your local pet store or learn more at petpain.com.
With this warmer weather, I get more active. Headaches and pains keep me from doing things I enjoy, like golfing and working outside my yard. Toledo Hemp Center's new location, 1415 Sylvania Avenue, has shown me there is an alternative to pharmaceutical drugs. I use CBD, cannabidiol, infused hemp lotions, oral sprays, and topical oils. Thank you, Toledo Hemp Center, for helping me restore and maintain my health with no side effects and no high. Find out more at ToledoHempCenter.com.
Hey, this is Tommy Chong, and you're listening to the Full Melt Show.
It's the Full Melt Radio Show.
Radio Show.
So we're back, and unexpectedly, I thought we'd have Ngaio on for maybe a couple of segments. Usually, we're able to talk the guests into hanging out for a couple of segments, but it seems like he's a funny guy and he's busy. You can't be in L.A. and not be busy. Let me tell you that. Listen, as I'm reaching back into old comedy days, and a little bit of reminiscence about the radio show. I wanted to reach out to my friend Colorblind, who I'm going to try and call while I'm talking to you on the air here. Colorblind, he is an artist. He does some singing and some rapping, and they've got a band because I think Colorblind performs on his own, and then also performs with a couple of other people who were on our program. I'm trying to see if this goes through because I don't know if I might not have dialed it right. I'm going to try again. So I got to do. If you're going to wait through this with me, here we go. I had him call up on the cell phone. See if we can get him there. I think I dialed it right this time. All right, here we go. I think I got it. There we go. Here we go with Colorblind.
Hello.
Colorblind.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. We got you connected up to the studio now.
Oh, word, man. How's it going out there, radio world?
I don't think they can answer you back. That's the problem. I can answer you though.
As long as they can hear me, I can catch the vibe.
Did I catch you at a bad time? Are you at work or something?
I'm in the studio with the great Codini right now, man. We're in Studio X, holding it down.
Really? Are you guys doing an album?
Yeah, we're plugging up these next two albums. We already put out Messy J and Codini, Electric Voice Phenomena, and then that was about 2 years ago now, which those made a lot of rounds. And we also put out with that album, they produced my hip hop funk hop album with them, which was entitled Natural Ability. So we put those out, made the rounds, and now we're coming back with Fee Fi Fo Funk from Messy J and Codini, as well as Deep Rooted from myself with Messy J and Codini. So we kind of put our stuff out together, so to speak.
So you guys are actually in the studio right now recording some songs?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're a busy man, Colorblind.
Yeah, man, that's right.
Got the ambition.
Yeah, we got to do it. Got to keep moving forward, man, and we definitely want to come back on your show and do something live for you guys. That would be awesome.
So we've moved there's a couple of things about the program since you were last on. Colorblind and Messy J and Codini were on the program. They were, I think, our first official band on this show, but an earlier rendition of this show when it was just a live local show here in Michigan, in the Detroit area. We've kind of expanded now. Now we're on every day. We're just simply on the internet, syndicated there, which is that's a whole new beast right there. So we focused to a national audience. So we just got off the phone with, because I don't think I've had the benefit of explaining any of this to you before. It's been a while since I've talked to Colorblind. But we've been having some pretty good guests on the program today. We've been talking about 420 Funny, and I had Ngaio Bealum, I stand corrected, Ngaio Bealum on the show, who's a stand-up comic, and I haven't found a guy that specializes in marijuana comedy yet until I found Ngaio.
Nice.
So he was just on talking about that, but I made the assumption that he would be on for the entire length of the program. As it turns out, he was only available for the first 15 minutes of that half-hour interview. So I thought, who haven't I talked to in a while? Who's both funny and funny-looking? No, I'm just kidding. So I figured I'd call up Colorblind and see what's going on.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It was good to hear from you, man.
Listen,
we're still working and we're coming live, man, this summer. So look out for D5 Soul Funk and Deep Rooted this summer.
Explain to people who are not familiar, because we have a broader audience now, about your band and the uniqueness of it. Because what I think is very cool about your style, specifically Colorblind, and then also when you're with Messy J and Codini, when they bring the funk to the table. It is a very cool, eclectic mix of both rap, kind of hip-hop, urban funk, old school Detroit sound.
Yeah, that's, me, I've been an MC for a long time, Original Colorblind, formerly of Lyrically Able and Dirty 3rd Street down in Ann Arbor. But, I had the pleasure of getting to know Messy J and Codini, who actually, real quick, we kind of were in the same circle a long time ago, and I used to hang out in H-Town, which is Highland, Michigan, a couple of cities down from Pontiac, if anybody's familiar with 59. But these guys, they're the most extraordinary funk musicians you'll ever meet. And, we do a lot of work around the city. If you know Tony Green, T-Money Green, or Gabe Gonzalez from Parliament Funkadelic and the Ultra Unit, as well as T-Money was famous for playing with the Dramatics and Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. He played bass on Gin and Juice and all those smash songs in Snoop Dogg and Warren G and Nate Dogg's early career. So we also do all that. We play shows with those guys as part of the road work, and that's with T-Money and the Ultra Unit with Gabe Gonzalez. Now there's also, we're all kind of like, Master J's himself, Codini's himself, and Codini's a talk box player. Synth minds, just, he kind of pulls from 80s funk, as to where Messy J kind of like, a little more 70s funk,
right,
if you will. And then I'm, a 90s underground artist that's kind of, just, keeping it going and taking it, it's kind of a futuristic approach at the same time. So what we're doing is blending all these genres and even generations, and people can feel us from, right down to youngsters that feel our music because of the funk. And then you got, older folks who, they pioneered the sound.
Look, it's been a while now since we had you come down to the Capitol in Lansing to one of the marijuana protests down there, one of the medical marijuana protests down there. It's been a while now. Again, has it been like 2 or 3 years? How long has it been?
It's been 3 years, yeah, for sure.
So do you
we've been doing cannabis camp with Uncle Pete and them. My cousin Jen's involved with the Seed to Cure movement.
Right.
So, we did a show in Lansing to benefit Seed to Cure.
How'd that work out? Did that turn out pretty good?
Worked out great, and it's actually my first cousin Jen, as her alias, Uncle Pete and Cousin Jen. Cousin Jen kind of teamed up with Uncle Pete. And they were making a lot of noise, doing a lot of good things in the community, and, just helping out some terminally ill people where, all else, everything else fails and there's nothing else to turn to, and they swoop in and donate a lot of their oil and whatnot. And
the angel wings.
A lot of work goes in that, and they do that all. They're not looking for self-profit. They're looking to help terminally ill people, and I see it with my own eyes, and it's a beautiful thing, So we support that still. We're still involved. We're all patients ourselves, and we all know what's going on, and, we're staying relevant with it.
So where are you gigging at right now? You got some gigs lined up you can promote on the show?
Yeah, we're actually playing a couple of them, not this weekend, but the 5th. So a week from Saturday, we're going to be downtown Ypsilanti at the public library there, performing outside, benefiting the library, and we'll be there from 7 to 9 p.m. And then from there, we're actually double-headed. We're going over with Tony Green and the Mighty Roadwork crew, and we're going to do a show at Crossroads, which is right there in Depot Town.
Depot Town, yeah, that's Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor area for the people who are not in Michigan.
You know what? I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's not actually Depot Town, but it's right on Cross Street, right off campus, right off the Eastern.
Oh, okay. So that's what you got lined up going right now. Look, in the broader scheme, what are you looking to do with the... you say you're working on 2 different albums right now?
Yep. There's Original Colorblind, Deep Rooted, and then you also have P5 Funk from MC and Codini, so we're all from the same camp. It's kind of crazy that we don't actually go with a band name because we're a trio. Right. But Messi J plays bass and guitar, sings and rhymes and all that. And Codini does, he produces everything and plays all the synth lines. And, he's one of the best talkbox players in the world. He's mastered, his craft, so to speak. And then, we all come together, and it's Messi J and Codini with Colorblind. And there was Crosby, Stills, and Nash back in the day. So if they could get away with it, we always felt like we could get away with it.
Well, there was a young in there somewhere. There was a young, Neil Young.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Exactly. So... as to where we've had some interchangeable pieces roll with us, too. So there's Nick Beats always down in Ann Arbor, that's our 4th member. But, people get on my case about having a band name, but we're known as the Funk Locomotive, and we actually have a couple of aliases. You might see us going as Uncle Rico's Time Machine or Burt Reynolds. So, we just like to have fun with it, but we're also, we're professionals, and we're well, that's still doing it and trying to make music that's going to last forever, and also have some political statements in there, and also makes people feel good because it's a time when we all need to be able to feel good, and just like that sweet Mary Jane, we try to, and that's another thing. It goes hand in hand. If you sit down with a good green one and plug in the record, you can feel it regardless. But
hang on. Hey, we're going to break. Go to break. Hold on.
Got something to hide? Canalock offers discreet and effective storage solutions that destroy odor, so nobody knows. Canalock is a patented charcoal-activated bag that discreetly stores your marijuana. Canalock is made from the same material as military chemical warfare suits. Get yours at canalock.com. Visit canalock.com to learn more about no-smell technology.
Each week, Pot Pitch takes a look at different medical or legal pot business as they attempt to seek investment capital and partners in order to take their business to the next level. What do investors like?
And which entrepreneurs are shown the door?
Real venture capitalists, smart entrepreneurs, and exciting business models in a brand new industry, cannabis. Pot Pitch. Find out what this new marijuana industry will look like and who its players will be. Real deals, real people, real decisions. Pot Pitch at potpitch.com and featured on the Full Melt Radio Show.
Imagine a world where patients can use marijuana like any other medicine. The Marijuana Patients Organization challenges the status quo by helping our neighbors to enjoy a better quality of life. Visit the MPO at marijuanapatients.org and enjoy informative articles, engaging debates, and information about treatments, doctors, and dispensaries in your area. Over 50,000 people have registered at marijuanapatients.org since 2010. Join us at the Marijuana Patients Organization today, marijuanapatients.org.
It started with Weed 1.
Some have called it a watershed moment.
Then came Weed 2.
It's absurd that we would have to do this to get medicine.
Now Dr. Sanjay Gupta is at it again, and he's reaching higher than ever with Weed 3.
I never thought I would be smoking weed in the hospital.
The movement behind it.
We demand this plant go through the process of the FDA.
The radical research.
I have to say I'm kind of stunned.
Weed 3, the marijuana revolution.
It's Steve Green for the Sweet Leaf in Flint, because now getting safe access to medical cannabis patients in Flint, Michigan is never more welcoming. Presenting the Sweet Leaf, a brand new patient experience bringing 12 carefully selected caregivers housed in 9 separate offices to distinctly assist you with their knowledge and reputation for excellent patient care. Classes and training coming soon in the large community room. Check it out in person, 400 South Door Highway, or call 810-259-2571. The Sweet Leaf Center in Flint, 810-259-2571.
They're parasites. They've got no contribution to this society. They're preying on our community and our kids. And it's going to end badly.
We've got exactly $100,000 in cash in the back of this car. I bet there's guys right there in that prison for doing just what we're about to do.
I want the Breckenridge Cannabis Club to be a household name.
This is us pioneering a new industry.
He's going after every resort town in Colorado. His plan is brilliant.
This is a big boy operation now.
We are not the Amsterdam of the Rockies, we're Breckenridge.
Absolutely unbelievable to us that this has happened so quickly.
That's when the town erupted.
All hell can break loose.
I think we have an image to protect.
The powerful elite has definitely put the pressure on.
Everyone is playing everyone.
They're going to have a target painted on their back.
That is a real threat.
There's $2 billion to be had next year. I plan to take more than my fair share.
High Profits, Sunday night at 10 Eastern on CNN. It's the Full Melt Radio Show. Hey, so we're having a good time here on the radio. It's a 420 Funny Wednesday. I think it's going to be like that for at least the coming couple 3 weeks. And then I'm hoping, I'm not sure if it'll happen yet, but I'm hoping we can rotate through those comedians every once a month. And kind of catch up with people and have some fun with that as a regular comedy segment, because I think that's comedy and marijuana go together like music and marijuana. We're talking to Colorblind on the phone. Colorblind, you were telling us about smoking a fatty before going to break. What were you saying now? I lost it in the music there.
Hey, back on there, Steve Green. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, my brother.
Oh, so I was saying, and if you partake. Let me jog my memory for a minute. I was saying, if you do partake, it's a good way to listen to the albums because, we were feeling good when we made them. So I feel like when anybody can feel it. You don't have to smoke one or whatever, or vape or whatever it is you do. But, it definitely goes hand in hand, needless to say.
So, when we had you in the studio, because we had you in studio doing this radio thing back like 5 years ago.
Yeah, a handful of years ago. The funny thing is we had been rocking for a little bit. We've been together about 6 years now as a unit. But, all of us are lifetimers in our own, in what we do. But, it's the first radio show we ever went on, the Medical Marijuana Show. It
was the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. It was on 1310 WDTW, which is now off the air. They took that station off the air.
Yeah. And that was a great experience. And the thing is we came down there, and typically we came down there with a CD player, okay, to play our instrumentals.
Right.
Typically we have that because we were going to play over our backing tracks. Sometimes we could put together a full band, but a lot of times we'll just play over our instrumentals,
Right.
And play live. And obviously the instrumentals are Master J and Codini playing live instruments. And
right.
I always like to point that out so people understand we're not sampling music. It's all played in the studio.
Right.
If we are at a show, that's what you're hearing. Is Master J and Codini playing over themselves.
Right. And at the time, you did have a backtrack that you brought with you.
So here was the deal. We get there, and usually those backing tracks are where we left them for the last gig that we did. And we knew we were just doing a couple songs or whatever, so we didn't need to make a CD. So we thought it was in there, but I took them out and didn't realize it.
Oh, no.
So when we got there, we didn't have a backing track whatsoever. But my cousin, and I don't know if she's listening out there, but if she is, Cousin Tracy, I love you. You saved the day and drove down to Farmington, rushed us an instrumental disc. Matter of fact, I remember she left Waterford, and she was down there in no time.
We were busy setting up microphones and trying to get you squared away with. We didn't have enough headphones to go around.
We didn't have enough headphones. It was hectic.
We put you on the spot.
Together. It all came together beautifully.
Look, I remember looking into your eyes before you got ready to start that gig, and you're like, dude, this is so screwed up. I can't hear anything. I don't know what's going on. And then we opened up the mic and let you guys do your thing, and it rocked, dude. That was extremely cool, and I think you were most pleasantly surprised by the way it turned out. Yeah,
it did. It turned out great, and from that, it definitely was something to build off of. But you couldn't, and like you said, that's how the shows are, and that's how, and Steve, you're the master of that. You were wild to see in the studio, I'll tell you that much. So. you were like, you know, all over the place, but when it was on, it was on, you know, and that chaos all comes together, you know.
Look, there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes in any entertainment field, and you know, radio included, and you know, bands playing live included. People don't get to see that behind the scenes stuff. And sometimes that ends up being the most interesting and notable out of the entire experience, isn't it? I mean, to you and I, it is. But
well, you learn a different respect for people as well. And, you know, it's something I always kind of wanted to do is get into radio. And I've been stopped more times in my lifetime. People will stop me everywhere. This has happened to me, I don't know, maybe 20 times in my life. So, especially if I'm hoarse, Steve, and they'll say, hey, man, you got a radio voice, man. You should be doing radio. And I thought about it over the years, and you know, I'm an MC, you know, that's what I love to do, and maybe one day I will, you know, get on a radio show or something. But, you know, right now I'm definitely using my voice to my best ability.
Love Lines with Colorblind.
You know, no, man, that's not really my style, but, you know, we can get into something, you know, you're trying to put people up on some underground hip-hop and some real funk music. And, you know, I'm a big fan of reggae, all kinds of music, but what we're doing over here is keeping that feeling alive. That feeling alive, man.
There's not a lot of guys doing that in Detroit anymore, keeping the old Motown sound alive, because they had different intonations. I mean, it had the old school thing in the 50s, and then it turned into the 60s with the Motown crowd. And then in the 70s, Motown moved to L.A., and that whole thing changed. And then, of course, Detroit declined. And then, you know, in the 90s, you're a master of the 90s. What was going on in the 90s in Detroit? Nobody was doing the funk sound that you guys were doing.
You know, there's a few bands doing that. The difference is like, there's a lot of people faking the funk out there, and they're not funky like Message J and Codini. You know, and you hear me say that name because, you know, those are my brothers, first of all. We're a family, man. And, you know, I'm a hip-hop artist. I'm an MC. You know, I've always had love for the funk, but the real thing was linking up with those guys and blending it all together. We created our own sound, which is funk hop. I know there's the G-funk stuff. I know people have sampled George Clinton and a million times over. But, you know, we pull from all kinds of stuff, and my record even has some jazzy stuff on it. So it's mixed. It's funk, hop, jazzy. We always keep a couple reggae sounding tracks, like we played for you for My Medicine that was on your show. And
My Medicine, that's what it was.
Yeah, she's my medicine, man. Guaranteed to heal you.
Listen, you got anything up your sleeve you want to spill on us?
Man, you know I do, Steve, all the time. So everybody out there listening, you know, keep pushing forward, whatever you're doing in life. And it's been tough out here, and we're out here in Michigan, and, you know, it hasn't been easy. So I want to tell everybody out there to just keep pushing on. And if you are fortunate enough to share with others and spread the love, man. And I'm a hip-hop artist right now, and I'm from, you know, all over the place. You can catch me in Detroit. You can catch me all over the place. But one thing I'll tell you is spread the love, man, because that's what's missing from the game, I think. And the respect. And people, you know, people are brainwashed by all this garbage. Recycled aluminum. Anyway, it's Colorblind checking out. I'm going to leave y'all with a rhyme before I head out. Thanks for having me on, Steve. I appreciate it. Appreciate it every time, man. So,
no, for sure.
Checking out one time. I'm going to hit y'all with this. Now those words that I'm hearing are no terms of endearment. I'm a swerve in the carriage till y'all learn in the heritage. I burn with the spirit, with the yearn. Riches earn it your merit, then it turns into marriages. Divorce in the system, of course. We the victims of the cost of living in tuition. See, I'm the definition of being detrimental to MCs that never listen. Every second I'm investing a lesson within, destined to win. Distinguishing myself, I'm a simple-minded. Exhibit skill like J Electronic and nobody pimping my ride. A lot of dark days behind me as I limping through the finish line. No college education, but I'm living my life. Hard to classify the professor acting live. Always asking why you got your hands high. The man with the sirens, that'll be that guy that'll snatch your life over his half of the pie. And I can't quite analyze why you're never satisfied. We go so far in debt, we sever family ties. Now we stuck up in the place feeling vandalized. Trying to study over ramen noodles and some candlelight. Student aid ran dry, got y'all standing in line like damn they lies. Police will grab their license like damn your rides and try to strategize a plan that'll scam your life.
Damn.
Colorblind one time, man.
You know, there's only one of me. I can only do the one clapping for the applause, but that had some feeling behind it there, KB. Can I call you KB?
Hey, people have been doing that for a long time. The kind bud.
The kind bud, right?
Bringing it back.
Colorblind, thanks for coming on the radio show today. Listen, you guys, you got your gigs going on out there. You're doing your album. Good luck with that. Where can people find you on the social media if they're looking for you?
You know, you can always find me on Facebook. Facebook is always got my stuff. Original Colorblind. That's Colorblind with a K. So Original Colorblind with a K, just to separate myself from everybody else trying to bite my name after all these years.
Hey, man, we're about to end the show. But thank you for coming on and spreading your love and message with the marijuana crowd today on the Full Melt Show.
Yep, and, YouTube, Codini 2000.
The Full Melt Show is a production of TFM Media.